Past 9 o'clock. Welcome back to Great Day for this Thursday. And if you follow food trends or just the news in general, you know that kale has been a darling of both the health food world and the foodie world for quite some time now. And the trends of kale production are amazing. Like between 2007 and 2012, 60% increase in kale production. Wow. And you had a story last week about McDonald's.
I say it's still in the headlines as we learn McDonald's possibly adding it to their menu. But we want to hear more from the expert. That's why we're heading over to the Wood Harbor Kitchen with Jason and Sheree Clark from Fork in the Road.
Kale expert, as Jackie mentioned. I know people are sitting at home going, kale, it's like Brussels sprouts. But, you know, last fall I learned a lot from you. And one of the things I learned is that this can be good. And it's certainly good for you.
It's really good for you, Jason. And that's one of the reasons why I started eating it. But then if you find out ways to make it taste good, you stay on the party wagon, right?
Okay, sell us on kale before you move forward. What's so great about kale?
Let me sell you on buying it first.
All right.
Okay, and why would you eat it? Lots of good nutrition. There's protein in all leafy greens. Most people don't know that. There's chlorophyll, which we need. It's a very alkalizing thing. There's all kinds of vitamins, nutrients, minerals, and that type of thing. And the important thing to remember is there's all different kinds of kale. So if you try one kind and you don't like it, don't give up. Either that wasn't a varietal that you liked, or you didn't like the prep, okay?
Okay.
So let's look at some of the different kinds that we have. First up, we have a curly kale. Now this is just it's beautiful.
It really is.
And you will see this also downtown. They plant this in some of the planters, and you might see me munching on it.
Yeah, well, and Chuck from Rennis has been here with us, and in the fall it turns kind of a bright pink. It's really pretty.
It's gorgeous. So this is one varietal. And this is good for certain things, like this would be good for kale chips, which is what was used in this recipe over here.
All right, should I?
You can go right ahead. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
What did you put on?
This is a sweet version of kale chips. So this one I used maple syrup and coconut. Yeah, so it's not what you expect. So a lot of times you can get a cheesy, garlicky. That's pretty common in the kale chip world. These are sweeter ones, and I did that because sometimes you want a sweet thing, and you want it to be healthy, and so that's a nice option.
Geez, that's good.
And if you buy kale chips in the store, they're really expensive. You might have noticed. So the little tin is like $7,
right?
And so you can make them at home. And in this kale was $2. So that was it. Certain times of the year it's less, and certain times of the year it's more. And in the summertime you can get even less expensive at farmers market. Big, abundant bouquets.
Okay.
This is a red kale. Very similar. It's also a curly varietal, a little tiny bit of a different profile. The thing to remember about kale is it's best in the spring or fall when it's cooler weather, smaller leaves. So it's a nice tender. If it's been out in the sun too long, or if it gets too big, it tends to get a little bit bitter.
Okay. Lettuce does the same thing. That makes sense.
Exactly,
okay.
And it's part of the lettuce family. So this would be this is a lacinato or dinosaur kale. A little bit of a different profile, a little bit of a different texture. I like this in salads, and so what I did for you here, this is a salad, a kale salad. This one has a little bit of a vegetarian-based mayo. There's some onion, some sunflower seeds, some shredded carrot.
Oh, that's great.
Beautiful taste, and you could eat that, and really, it's really satisfying.
It is.
Now,
I can see that.
The key to making kale in a kale salad, because you can see this is pretty sturdy. You could be chewing this a good long time.
It's not all bad, but
no, exactly. So the key to making a kale salad would be, for example, what you would do is you'd start with your kale, and if the recipe says to de-stem, this is all you do.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, it's very simple. And then you would take this and you'd shred it up, put it in the bowl. What I've done here is I've taken it and added a little bit of table salt.
I love salt.
I know you do. And you'll notice I have just some plain table salt. You'll very seldom see me using this.
Okay.
But because I'm using it, it's going to eventually be rubbed into the kale. I've wilted it. You can see it's turned into almost like a cooked spinach texture.
Okay.
Once you rub the salt into it, it stays all wilty and that type of thing. That's why it's easy to chew. And I'm using just a cheap table salt because I'm going to rinse it off before I use it in the recipe. And that's the important part. If you leave that on there, your recipe would kind of be jack.
Yeah, it would be a little too salty.
It would be way too salty. So, so that's the way that I prepare kale. Certainly, you can steam it.
Okay.
You can cook it in any variety of ways. And then the last thing I thought that you would enjoy, simple, because we all know how much green juice plays a part in my life and,
Yes.
and is part of a healthy lifestyle. If you taste that, kale is the centerpiece in that juice.
It's not all kale.
It's not all kale. No, I wouldn't do that to you. It has got lemon,
Yeah, that's
apple,
great.
zucchini. I put in just a little bit of celery to give it some salty flavor because I'm not going to put that salt in there, and it's beautiful.
Now, the thing about this, one of the things you taught me in the fall, is that I know you're looking at this and thinking, well, it's going to keep me full for a half hour at best. There's a lot of protein in there,
Yes.
and a lot of different kinds of protein in there.
And there's a lot of good nutrition all the way around. And here's the thing, you don't have to hold back. If you are enjoying that salad and you want a salad this size, knock yourself out. It's kale. This is the most abundant bit of the ingredients that are in there, and so you could eat a whole bowl of that. The odds are pretty good you won't, but yes, knock yourself out. Drink as much of that as you want. I drink 32 ounces of juice a day.
Now, one of the things, one of the many things, again, that you taught me in the fall, and I know you're a raw food person, but you can take this and bake it if that's your thing, right, in the oven. Make chips, and it's easy to do.
Yes, absolutely. Any recipe that uses kale, I don't care how it's prepared. If people are getting good nutrition into them, as long as they're not tempura or deep fat frying, that probably takes away from it. I happen to be raw foodist, but that's not the only way to fly.
Okay.
So you can cook it however it makes good sense. The last thing I want to mention is when we buy these things, particularly farmers markets coming up on Saturdays and in May, and
right.
I'm so
We're
excited
almost
about
there.
that. Yes. So if I buy an abundance of kale, and I usually do because I know I'm going to be using it throughout the week, storage is extremely important.
Oh, okay.
So what I do is I have these green bags, and this is a nice big one so that the kale will fit inside there beautifully. I put the kale inside. Then I might take either a paper towel square, or this is a fenugreek square. I've had them on the show before. You can smell that, and it smells like a fenugreek. You can buy them online.
Yeah.
That goes in the bag. It will help absorb the moisture. Close it with a twist tie. Put it in the crisper drawer or someplace in the refrigerator that's not uber cold.
Okay.
And it will keep for a good week, or sometimes even I can make it last 10 days.
And the bag you got where?
The bags you can pick up at any different place. You can pick it up in a supermarket. You can pick them up online. They're available just about anywhere.
Great information as always today, Sheree. And where can people find out more?
www.fork-road.com.
All right. Well, you did your food thing. I'm going to do my weather thing coming up next. But thank you. And Jackie is